What's up guys, Barry Gaming here, back with some more AFK Journey, and today we're going to be talking about how to set up your wish list in AFK Journey, because as you guys know, you have a basically good chance to get these heroes. You want to, of course, only kind of focus on the heroes you really want, because if you do your summons before you set up your wish list, well, you might be a little disappointed by the results, because you only get so many of those S tier level heroes, those legend heroes as I call them, and you want to make sure you can get your hands on them, especially very early on, because some of them are just completely busted and broken. So we're gonna go over each faction individually. Let's talk about it right now. Let me know if you guys have any other input on this. Leave a comment down below, let everybody know who you might enjoy as a hero and they might want to consider as well, and let's jump right into it. So if you guys were unaware, a wish list is actually something in the game. When you go to do your normal summons right here, aka what they call now the all hero recruitment down the bottom, you will want to set up a wish list. Now this is getting you S and A level heroes. Again, it feels weird. I feel like I'm always going to say legendary and epic heroes, because let's be honest, in most games that goldish color is always legendary, the purple's always epic, but there are some specific heroes you want to go for, and it is by faction. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys these heroes and explain why they are good at their spot, and we're gonna start at the beginning with the we're just gonna go straight into the Lightbearer faction right here. Number one, the first hero you really want to try to get on in every single account is going to be a Rowan. Like I said in the previous videos, he feeds energy, he also heals his allies. He is one of the most important heroes to have on any account, depending on whatever your luck is in all these other summons, what your tank is, your damage dealer. You want a Rowan, you need a Rowan. Get yourself a Rowan. Now besides that, I feel like the legends are a little lacking overall in the Lightbearer faction, so it's kind of just up to you at that point. Cassidy is a mage, of course. She can do some AoE damage. She can also knock them back, which is a very useful tool. You have Vala, which Vala seems like one that you can get a lot of copies of easily. She's an assassin type hero, aka rogue in this game, and she's going to be jumping around, stunning enemies, all that fun stuff. You also have I always want to call her Atlanta every time. I'm just gonna call her Atlanta, another ranged unit in the game. I haven't used her very much, so I can't say too much, but again, she also has the ability to do some AoE damage and stunning the enemies. The only one that I'm kind of gonna not recommend you use is Tamija. I really don't enjoy this hero. She basically just, or he, I don't even know, they just run aimlessly around the battlefield, which is kind of a good thing, kind of a bad thing, but overall their damage just doesn't feel like it's there, at least in the early game. Remember, most of this advice I'm giving you is for the early game, so it's good to pay attention to that. But that is essentially who I would go. Rowan's the important one. Anything else is kind of up to you. Now we get down to the maulers. Brutus is probably one of the best ones to go for in the early game. He is a warrior, but like I've said before, he has the ability to essentially taunt enemies. He also has the ability to become immune to all damage when he takes a fatal blow the first time, and also gain some life drain. He's going to be a really good hybrid damage dealer slash tanker, and like I said in the team building video, having like one tank, one support hero, and one damage dealer, and then the other two spots are very nice to have a flex that's like a healer slash tank or a tank slash damage dealer. It makes the viability of your team so much better. Besides that, I would probably go for Smokey and Murky. As you guys have seen, he's a really solid healer. He doesn't really do any damage at all. Actually, I don't even think he has a damage ability, but what he does do is he buffs the attack of allies. He also has a very strong heal when he uses his ultimate. He has passive healing, which is very good, and he becomes very, very strong. So Smokey and Brutus, in my opinion, are the two to go to. When you get down to the next faction here, there's a little bit of flexibility with the Wilder. If you need a tank, Granny can be an absolute amazing addition to your team. Like I said, she's super tanky. She doesn't do all that much damage, but she also has the ability to leech HP from the enemy and root them, which is really, really cool. If you're looking for a pure healer in this game, Haywin is probably one of the best. Her ultimate heals everybody on the battlefield. Her basics basically heal the weakest ally. Everything she has to do with healing. Later on, she will of course increasing attack and stuff like that. But yeah, the fact that she is probably one of the highest healing output heroes in the game means she's very good. Now if you don't need a tank and you don't need a healer, I personally like this man right here, Aaron. I always say his name wrong, even when I was doing AFK arena stuff. Never said it right, but he has a really cool ability where he can cause they say an explosion, but it's basically like a tornado type thing that can suck all the enemies in. He's a pretty good damage dealer, so he is someone you could keep your eye on if your strategy is going for big AoE damage. He will definitely help group the enemies together. Moving on down to Graveborn, there's literally only two heroes I would pick. Number one, the best tank in the game, Thorin. He can revive on death, which is just absolutely crazy. His ultimate will kind of like attach him to one enemy and drain their life, giving himself healing as well. He just know he's the best tank in the game, hands down. If you want a damage dealer, you gotta go for Cessia, because as you guys saw in my last video as well, if you didn't check it out, you gotta check out all the videos, guys, because we talk about a lot of good information and what these heroes are good at. Cessia is amazing, probably one of the best free-to-play early game friendly heroes that is a legend, because just at her base state she can summon Mr. Carlisle, which is a big brute monster, roots everybody and does some AoE damage, and every time she uses the ult after that, heals him to full. So it adds a essentially sixth ally onto the battlefield and is very, very strong. There are some other heroes you can consider. I wouldn't really go over them that much. However, that's for the S level heroes. If we move on down to the A level heroes, Lucius is a very good one to pick in the early game. He's not great at the end game. He does fall off, fair warning, but like I said in the last video too, he's a really good hybrid tank slash healer support hero on your team. Very, very good to have. Besides that, again, it's kind of up to choice after that. Corrin can be very good in the later game. Faye is kind of like a healer in the early game that you get access to. Not a big fan of. And then, of course, there's Walker. Walker can get strong too. I would probably pick either Walker or Corrin. Corrin, I think, would probably be the better option out of the two, so keep that in mind. Hands down, Odie is the best A tier, epic, whatever you want to call it, hero in the game. He's like literally the best single target damage dealer you will get access to when this game launches. Please get this hero. Please put him on the wish list. Don't make a mistake and not use him. He's extremely good. After that, though, I would probably go down with Antandra if you need a tank, because again, she fills that kind of role where she's a really good tank hero, but then she can also help support other heroes on your team. So having her as a secondary tank slash support hero can be a really good flex hero. As far as damage dealers go, I haven't tried this new Coca out. It looks very much like a Disney character. But brand new character just came out. It is a support hero, so we'll have to see how it goes. Honestly, a lot of times going for support heroes isn't the worst thing in the world. When you move on down to the Wilder faction, Damien's pretty good if you don't get your hands on any good supporters that are legend heroes or those S tier heroes. So definitely keep an eye on him. One thing you are going to get is probably a lot of copies of Leica early on, especially since she is the free one we're going to be getting. So going for more copies of her isn't that bad. She has some pretty good AoE damage and such. Really solid. Khafra, I've honestly never really used. I've kind of used Parisa. I would say stick to those two more than anything else. Arden can have his uses as well, because he does have the ability to tangle enemies, so keep that in mind. He's pretty good to entangle and CC some enemies, but beyond that, not too much. Niru is okay if you're desperately needing a healer. He's okay, but the downside with him is he moves into melee. But his ultimate's pretty strong. Cast a spell to protect an ally from a fatal blow, which is, you know, pretty unique, and then restores their HP. He's very niche in how to use him. Not the biggest fan. Sylvina is okay. She has some good, like, you know, reducing energy effects on the enemy, but I will say a lot of rogues in the game feel a little lacking. Salazar, again, another rogue. Again, just not a big fan of him. He's all right. I'd probably go for Viperian. He's a really good hero to build on your team. So if I had to pick, Viperian would definitely be one of them. And I'll show you guys who I currently have in my list as well. So if we go back in here, go into here, come up to the top right here. This is kind of the way I've set up my team, although I do need to switch that out a little bit. And this is pretty much what we were talking about. These are the heroes I want to go for specifically because that's what I kind of have my eye on for building. So keep this in mind. This is going to be a very good wish list. Now, keep in mind there is like a separate wish list for the epic recruitment. You can change these at any time, so you can swap out heroes. You'd be like, yeah, no, I need to put you in there, and I want to have, yeah, that looks good. I like that type of team. Those are the heroes I want to use because these are guaranteed 1 in every 30. That's pretty good. And you can see right here, we're 23 away, which is really solid. So every 30, you're guaranteed an A level hero. Essentially, it says every 10 you get an A, every 30 you get an S, whereas over here you go, I think it's every 60 you get 1 S level hero. This is a little different from AFK Arena. I think AFK Arena, what, you're guaranteed 1 like every 30 or something like that. Little different, but still the same. So let me know what you guys think about the wish list. If you would change anything, leave a comment down below. I love having conversations about everybody's opinions and what their experiences in the game. Make sure you do take 1 second, hit that subscribe button, because we're gonna have a lot of AFK Journey content coming your way. Not a like overloading, you're probably about a video a day, so I won't be flooding your subscription feed. Don't worry about that, and I'll see you guys next time.